The most underrated Assassin's Creed game barely anyone talks about. I'm talking about Liberation. The game was doomed from the start when it launched on the PS Vita, a handheld no one really had. And it got held back hard by the Vita's limitations. Ubisoft had to dial down everything to squeeze it into a handheld. The original wasn't just underplayed, it was underpowered. They also tried to give Liberation some shine with remasters, but it never really caught up because the ship had long sailed. It really did go under the radar. Nobody talks about it, and thinking back, I don't remember seeing ads, posters, or even copies in shops. No buzz, no warning, gone.
In addition to featuring the first ever female assassin,
this was the first female assassin lead in the franchise. Not DLC, not co-op. A full solo campaign.
Recognize me now, Capitan?
Afro-French, navigating New Orleans during the 18th century. Slavery, class, identity, real themes. Not just find the artifact. She wasn't just a female Ezio clone. She was her own force. Cool, collected, dangerous, and tactical. When Syndicate dropped, folks acted like Evie was the first female assassin. Like, did we all forget Aveline? She did it first and arguably did it better. I think the game flew under the radar for many. Some didn't even know it existed. And even the ones who did, a lot of them didn't want to give Aveline her flowers. Like she didn't earn her spot in the series. Liberation tells a powerful story through the eyes of Aveline de Grandpré, a mixed-race woman navigating 18th century New Orleans. On one side, she's the daughter of a wealthy French merchant. On the other, a deadly assassin fighting against slavery and corruption. And that double life, it fits perfectly with the game's persona system. Aveline doesn't just switch outfits, she switches roles, moving through society in ways no assassin has before her. Her story isn't just unique, it's layered, bold, and way ahead of its time. The persona system was a game changer. This right here, probably the closest Assassin's Creed has ever come to Hitman territory. You had the assassin outfit. This is your full power mode. You've got all your weapons, full climbing ability, and combat's wide open. It's beast mode. When you're in that outfit, it's all about being a cold-blooded killer. And that rush never gets old. The lady outfit is low-key, but classy. You're moving through high society, charming guards, slipping past enemies without raising suspicion. You can't climb or fight much, but you don't need to. You're playing the game from the inside. This outfit brings out Aveline's charm. She lets her hair down, works her magic, and charms the pants of unsuspecting suckers. And finally, the slave outfit, my favorite. You blend in with the working class, move through restricted areas, and go unnoticed by guards. This persona is my personal favorite, not just for the gameplay, but for the cultural weight it carries. It makes Aveline feel grounded and connected to the people she's fighting for. It's funny that a handheld game introduced a better stealth disguise mechanic than any mainline Assassin's Creed. Liberation is actually the only Assassin's Creed game with real social stealth, and that's thanks to the persona system. Let's be honest, you're not blending into a crowd in real life with swords hanging out. The game's take on slave liberation is powerful and rare, not just in Assassin's Creed, but gaming overall. Told through a mixed-race woman living a double life. It's one of the boldest stories in the series. The game has a solid cast of characters that really add to the intrigue of its world, each one bringing something unique to Aveline's journey.
Aveline, what troubles you?
I always enjoyed her interactions with Agate, her mentor, and honestly her real father figure. He's the one who trained her, guided her, and believed in her purpose. To me, he felt like the father she never really had. Agate is one of the most underrated villains in gaming. He had a solid voice actor, voodoo mystique, and that layered depth, cold, complex, and tragic. Everything a memorable villain should be.
I should have stayed with your mother. You should have been my child, raised as a daughter, not twisted into this monster.
Meanwhile, the voice acting wasn't mind-blowing, but it got the job done. Solid enough to carry the story and give the characters some weight. The game nails 18th century New Orleans. The street, the culture, the tension. It's a fresh standout setting that deserves a shout. Liberation also added new boats and wildlife like crocodiles. Lot of things that were missing in AC3, minor tweaks, but they made the world feel more alive and immersive. Despite all this, critics barely gave Liberation a fair shot. They treated it like an afterthought and clearly couldn't connect with the character or story. I'm not saying this game was perfect, it had its fair share of issues, but it still did a lot more that deserves credit. Liberation is one of the most underrated entries in the series, forgotten, overlooked, and initially held back by weak hardware and a failed gaming system. But don't sleep on Aveline. She walked so that other female assassins could run, and she deserves her flowers. Far from perfect, but unforgettable. It stood out then, and for me, it always will.
Gerald, if my father hadn't freed my mother, I'd be in the same predicament.
But he did.
I still owe them better.